Welcome to Waywut, your weekly verbal double take. This is a rabbit hole podcast where a couple of old guys do moderate to shallow dives into various topics, ranging from true crime, paranormal, sports, pop culture, or anything else that we find interesting. We drop episodes every Tuesday and on Fridays if we feel like it. You can follow us on Facebook, X, and TikTok. We appreciate you joining us. And now that we got all this self-promotion stuff out of the way, here we go. Hello, welcome again to another episode of Waywut. My name is Darrell. I will be in charge of this shindig today. And here I am with the guy that thinks this podcast is actually happening and still hasn't realized that this is all part of a fever dream he's having because he got food poisoning after eating a half-price hot dog from a gas station having a going out of business sale. Jason.
It was a deal. Best 25 cents I've ever spent.
Well, I mean, that took a lot out of me to say. I didn't expect to leave me breathless there at the end.
It was a mouthful.
Yeah. All right. So, today I'm going to start things off with, I'm not willing to call myself an insomniac because I do sleep, but I'm going to call myself a sleepless person. So it's a sleepless guy rant.
All right. I'm right there with you on that one.
Yeah. Well, I don't sleep a lot at all. On average, I sleep maybe 5 hours on the top end. Now, I don't know if that is a lot. I mean, you always hear people say 8 hours, and everyone around me, like my wife and daughter and all them, they love sleeping like 9 or 10 hours like it's nothing. And they're like, oh, yeah, that was nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my daughter could sleep for a long ass time. I mean, a long time.
Oh, I've watched my wife sleep damn near 24 hours.
Yeah. Aubrey woke up the other day. We had to wake her up. It was 8 p.m. in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
She slept like 16 hours. It was incredible.
Now, like I said, I'm married to someone that can do that and wants to do that on occasion.
Yeah. Ashley's pretty good at it too. She actually has a shirt that says Nap Queen.
Well, another thing about me when I'm in bed, because I know y'all like to think about me while I'm in bed. Anyways, I very rarely remember my dreams. I might remember 10 or 11 dreams a year. Something along those lines. I'm not going to say I don't dream because they say if you don't dream that, you'd lose your mind and go crazy or probably die or whatever. But I very, very seldomly remember them. I think it's because of the fact that I only sleep like 5 hours at a time and that I rarely remember my dream, that I don't particularly enjoy sleeping. It's not that it's not that I hate sleeping. I feel indifferent about it. I only do it because I have to do it.
True. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's kind of like eating. I wish there was a pill you could just take a pill. And yeah, it gives you all the nutrients and fills you up and does everything you need to do. You never have to worry about it again.
See, I that wouldn't quite work for me because, and it's going to be kind of like in what I'm about to go into with this rant, but like I look at eating sometimes as a recreational thing.
Yeah, it could be joy. Bring joy to yourself.
Yeah. I mean, and that's how my wife looks at sleeping. She's one of those people that, she sleeps recreationally. She likes sleeping. She likes naps. And then whenever you talk about sleeping, her eyes get all bright and she gets all happy. It's like, yes, I can sleep.
Yeah, there's a reason her and Ashley get along well.
Yeah. Now, I can't help but think that some of that might be because, she gets to dream for hours upon hours. There's, sometimes when I wake her up, she'll tell me about whatever dream she's having, and she'll be like, let me go back to sleep. I want to finish that. I want to finish this dream off.
Like watching a movie.
Yeah, I mean, if I had dreams like hers, then I would probably be the same way.
Yeah.
She's been in her dreams. She's been in Europe stealing desserts from a random wedding. She's been in. She gets in these big bloody fights where she beats people up. She has all sorts of adventures.
Man.
Yeah, I get nothing other than the biological fulfillment out of sleeping. I mean, so like if I could, stay healthy and never sleep again, I would totally do it because I'm not missing out on anything. Now,
Yeah. Well, you probably don't
I've
sleep long enough to get into that part of your sleep cycle to
you don't
dream.
have to be asleep that long. I don't know if it's I was a light sleeper or whatever. I don't know. It's just I don't think I'm a light sleeper. Like there's plenty of times that stuff happens and I won't wake up. Like if my wife needs to wake me up in the middle of the night, her best bet is to say my name. You say my name, I'll wake up. You shove me, push me, smack me, or whatever, I'm still gonna stay asleep.
Yeah. Put a piece of pizza in your mouth and take a bite, still going to stay asleep.
I was drunk. That was more of a passing out situation.
Yeah, tomato, whatever.
Now, when it comes to like those like dreams and sleeping and stuff like that, I've looked into things like lucid dreaming. For those of you that don't know, that is when you're able to identify that you are dreaming and then take control over it. Uh,
Okay.
I ha- I have only ever been able to achieve it one time. There's only one time I ever remember being able to do this, and I did the most basic bitch thing, and I used my dream world to fly. Flew around like Superman. And it didn't even last very long because I woke up shortly after I started. It's like, I was like, ooh, I'm awake. I'm dreaming. I'm dreaming. And I was like, and I'm like, flew. And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, oh, I'm awake. God damn it. I mean, it was one of the only times I was like, man, I wish I was still asleep.
So I
Now,
guess if you don't dream, you don't have nightmares too either.
no, I dream. I do dream. I know I dream because I've woken up from nightmares before. And those are some of the ones I do
Okay.
remember. I just don't remember my dreams.
Hmm.
Very weird. Now, if you do your research on lucid dreaming, they say that you can train yourself to do it. However, in most of the training scenarios, I cannot even complete the first step. The first step in most of the guides on lucid dreaming say keep a dream journal. How in the world am I supposed to do that if I'm lucky to remember one dream a month? I mean, it would
Yeah.
it would discourage me completely because most of my entries would be like, dear dream journal, I don't remember.
I'm sleepy. I'm going back to sleep. Who wants to write in
Yeah.
a book right now?
And then like once a month I'd get all excited and write something down like, I ate a bowl of ice cream on top of a moving train with my principal from elementary school.
Yeah, that's how dreams are sometimes. Pretty damn random.
Yeah, they're very weird. Now the long and short of it, I sleep because I have to, and I'm jealous of anyone who sleeps for any other reason besides exhaustion. So just remember the next time you gush about how you took a nap for fun, you could be committing a microaggression against a dream impaired person like myself. So be more inclusive, you fascist nappers.
You're
Yeah.
just not doing it right. The
No.
best way to nap is turn the air down really, really cold, like super cold, and then lay on a bunch of blankets on the
I've
bed.
taken naps before. And the only reason I do it is because like my eyes will not stay open for whatever reason. I'm exhausted at that time. I sleep because of biological necessity only.
Have you tried using a sleep mask?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, I didn't think I would like it, but I've acquired learned to like it.
You love the feeling of like somebody lightly
Yeah.
pressing on your face.
Well, it just puts a little bit of pressure on your eyes to kind of help, and then it takes away all
It
the light
distracts
and
me
stuff
because
around
like
you.
I'll blink and I'll feel my eyelids rub against it. I mean, so like whenever I would go to Asia for work, I would whenever I was over there, they would be working U.S. business hours, so it was the middle of the night in the Philippines when it was the work day. And so I would have to sleep during the daytime. And I brought a sleep mask because I was like, I need darkness. And I couldn't do it because I could sit there and feel my eyes blinking behind the sleep mask because I have these gorgeous long eyelashes.
Why are you blinking when you're trying to go to sleep?
Well, it's because I'm not necessarily sleepy. Now, I was going to do an addendum for you podcast listeners that want to see my long, beautiful eyelashes. I did lean closer to the camera, so watch us on YouTube.
He put on mascara just for this occasion.
Yeah. All right, we're getting all sidetracked. We're not even to the main gist of today's episode yet, and it's 10 minutes in.
All right.
Well, the reason I was talking about sleep is, have you ever wondered what's going on with the second biggest nap that people take?
Second biggest nap?
Yeah, the second biggest. Well, you know what the first biggest is, right?
When you're born?
No, your dirt nap when you're dead.
Okay.
So your second biggest is if you fall into a coma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about some weird coma stories.
Okay.
Yeah, now
all I can think of right now is on the second horrible boss movie, which he talks about coma
I never
boners.
saw it.
Oh my God, it's freaking great. Okay. I'm sorry.
All right, well, it may not be a surprise to people, but I have a very weird fear that gives me anxiety. Sometimes while I'm driving, by myself on my way to work or something like that, I start getting worried about some car losing control, going crazy, and smashing into me. Now, that's not the weird thing that, one would be anxious about. What I worry about is the current moment, that exact moment that is part of the present is currently in my short-term memory. And if a car smashes into me, I might lose that time, that part of short-term memory. And so this moment that I know might be gone forever. And that starts kind of wigging me out a little bit. So let me think of a better way to explain all this. If you're driving and listening to your favorite episode of the Waywut podcast, then some jackass in a big truck drives off a bridge and lands on your car, causing your head to get hurt. That time while you were driving was in your short-term memory, and it didn't get a chance to become long-term memory where it actually sticks. So then you wake up, say, an hour later, a month later, 10 years later, and you have no idea what happened. Your last memory could be dinner from the night before, kissing your spouse goodbye that morning, or that time you shouted in happiness that Waywut podcast just released a new episode. But, more than likely, it's not going to be, that truck falling on your head. More than likely. So, that happens. Then out of nowhere, you wake up in a hospital not knowing why or what happened to you. Thinking about that possibility is what starts making me anxious, that I'll be sitting here one moment, then this moment's gone. I wake up in a hospital and the last thing I remember is like the day before, which would be weird.
Very weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, I don't like it. So today's episode is about some people that didn't exactly wake up with that gap like I'm worried about. These are very weird coma stories.
Okay.
And after reading these, it turned losing my memories isn't quite as scary to me as it used to be.
I lose memories all the time, Darrell.
Yeah, I don't want to lose whole days. All right. Well, I'm going to start with one that bothers me because of my inability to remember my dreams consistently. In 2012, Alpha Cabeja was riding his bike in the UK when a van hit him and hit him hard enough to scramble his brains. He was placed in a medically induced coma for 3 weeks. The doctor warned them, that there was going to be some confusion once he woke up. He probably wouldn't remember the accident. He might not remember the day of the accident. He might lose even more memories. So Alpha wakes up and they start testing his memory. And this is what he told them that he could remember. On the day of the accident, he was on his way to see his girlfriend. She was pregnant with their twins. He kept a picture of from their ultrasound in his songwriting notebook. They even picked out names for the coming baby boy and baby girl, Sky and Nikita. The day of
Okay.
the accident, he was coming back from an interview for an assistant director role with MI6, which is the British version of the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
He remembered that the interview went really well. He also remembered that he had a small private plane. So, life was pretty good before he got hit by that van. Now, out of all those memories, only one of them was real. And that was that he did, in fact, have a girlfriend. While in the coma, or while waking up from the coma, his brain somehow formed a new life from all of his memories, and some of them weren't even memories about himself.
Wow. Talking
He,
about being rewired wrong.
yep. He had friends, a lot of friends at his age that were having babies, and twins ran in his family. So his brain mushed all those together. Boom, pregnant with twins. Years before the accident, he did apply for a job at MI6. So that happened at one point in his history. Um, Unfortunately, that was years before. So he was like, what the hell? So he called MI6 because he thought the doctors were gaslighting him about his false memories. And then MI6 told him that, they were actually closed on the day of his accident. So there was no way he could be there. However,
Wow.
since MI6 is kind of like the CIA, they could be lying. But honestly, I don't think that they are in this case because this guy was kind of a nobody. Um, Another weird thing was that recently, before his accident, he had seen a movie that had a plane just like the one that he thought he owned. So his brain pulled from the movie, said, "Yes, own a plane."
Wow. It's kind of like AI in a sense.
What, that it just picked up a bunch of random
Wow.
things and tried to make something coherent out of it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It kind of trying to piece your life together by your broken memories.
yeah.
That's really strange.
Well, psychologists think that with him being unconscious for 3 weeks, his brains were scrambling to build his autobiographical information. I kind of call bullshit on this theory because while you're unconscious, there is no concept of time. I mean, you go to bed at night, you close your eyes, you wake up, it's morning, boom, done.
Yeah. Quickest way to go on a trip is go to sleep.
Yeah. Now I figure while he was asleep, his brain had nothing better to do but dream. And with it being like 3 weeks of like consistent dreaming, it just kind of really stamped itself hard in there. That's just my humble non-neurologist opinion. Now, what I find unnerving about this story is because it really shows how much of who we are as people is based on memories. I mean, how easy is it to lose who you are with a head injury that messes with your memory? I mean, if you sit there and live like some false life, or you can't remember the real one, your brain tries to fill in gaps. It's gonna kind of change how you look at things. Uh, I have some good examples of this. In 2011, Sarah Thomason from New Zealand went into a coma after she got a blood clot in her brain that started to trap her spinal fluid. She was 32 years old, and she fell into a coma. At the time, she was married and had 3 children. When she woke up, she thought she was 19 years old.
Oh, who doesn't want to wish that?
She lost 13 years of memories.
Oh,
When her 14, 5, and 4-year-old children came to see her, she didn't recognize them.
oh
Even
man.
after being told their names, she would still get them wrong.
Or so she says.
Now, No, this is a pretty long hustle.
Mm.
It wouldn't even make sense. She didn't even get anything out of it. But whenever so she wakes up, her kids are happy to see her. She looks at them, and they're just kids. She felt nothing, just nothing for them. They were just strangers. Yeah, but it didn't stop there. She'd also forgotten her husband, and she woke up still thinking that she was with her ex, that she was, her ex boyfriend that was her current boyfriend when she was 19 years old. Now, although she did not regain her memories, those were gone. They stayed gone. She did find a way to get back into her old life. Her and her husband essentially began dating again, and he had to get to know this version of her. Well, she just got to know him. Period.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, but with her thinking that she was 19 years old, she was kind of acting out. She began dyeing her hair all sorts of colors. Yeah, she would act moody just like a teenager, uh,
Oh
and be
God,
kind
never
of a
mind.
bitch. Yeah, and that whole time, but I mean, he stuck by her. He never left her side. And I will say this: I never found anything saying that they eventually divorced or anything like that. So fingers crossed that they're still together. That's what I hope.
Did you say what kind of accident she got in?
She had a blood clot in her
Oh,
brain
brain
that,
aneurysm. Okay, that's
yeah.
right. Okay.
Well, no, yeah. Well, it was trapping
Um,
spinal fluid, so it was caught putting pressure on her brain.
wow.
All right. Um, Now, unfortunately, this is not the only case like this. Katrina O'Neill from Canada had a cardiac arrest when she was 29 years old. So, heart attack at 29. Way too
That's
damn young.
way too young. Yeah.
Yeah, well, she went without oxygen for 22 minutes and was in a coma for 3 weeks. Why are all of these 3 weeks? Why is that the magic coma number?
It's a requirement.
Yeah, it's like get your 8 hours of sleep every night, or your 3 week coma every lifetime. I don't know. Well, Katrina woke up believing she was 15 years old and wanting her mom. None of the articles said anything about any significant other that she had, at that time. Uh, so I don't know if she forgot anybody, like that. No mention of a husband or boyfriend. She did have 3 children, though. When she saw her 10, 7, and 1 year old, she said it was like looking at strangers and she felt nothing. Uh, yeah. Well,
It's gonna be hard for the
as she,
kids.
oh, hell yes. But I like the way that she did things. So she started, like when her mom sitting there's like, hey, these are your kids, stuff like that. So she put in the work. She wanted to, kind of fix all this stuff. So she spent time working on memory games and other things, just hoping that would like maybe unlock or open up some of those memories. But nothing brought them back. But she did use those games and stuff to rebuild her relationship with her children. They were always there helping her along. Whenever they would, she would look through pictures and, she'd see herself happy with these kids, but she wouldn't recognize it. Her kids would sit there and talk about that memory with her and tell her about all the fun stuff and share that with her. Um, you can't really say that it filled in the blanks because those blanks were still blank, but it gave her more perspective on what her life was like that, and it gave them something to bond over. Spending
Right.
that time learning about that, letting the kids relive happy memories. Uh,
I
According
get
to the
that.
art, what?
No, these both of these people, these families had the prime opportunity to recreate the movie Overboard, and none of them took advantage of it.
Um, well, the difference is in Overboard, she falls off of a ship and washes ashore and is a Jane Doe. None
Well,
of
she
these
can't.
people were. You have to have an
Right, but they could have.
amnesiac Jane or John Doe for an
But they
Overboard
could have given
situation.
her false memories of this is who you really were. This is what you really did on a daily basis.
What the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, like, what? Doing an Overboard isn't exactly the coolest thing in it. ever. I mean, Kurt Russell only got away with it because he's, damn handsome man. But
He can make one hell of a closet.
you do not sit there and take advantage of a loved one being out and being like, I'm going to make them think that they were a monkey trainer for the fuck's wrong with you?
Hey, man, when life gives you lemons.
Whatever. No, that's not lip. Oh God, you're okay. I'm gonna move on. According to the articles that came out last year, her and her family are doing very well. They're all great. So happy ending there. So
Did,
yay!
did it show how long they usually take to get their or to relearn their memories?
Oh, and you don't relearn memories. You
Or
essentially you have to go back to that life, and you're gonna ask questions. People got to answer them, and they got to be patient with you, and you have to be patient with them, and it's just it's just learning to live a whole new way. It's not like, oh, we just got to do this for a while until that. No, it's just always fucked up until their normal's just normal.
wow,
All right. Well, losing part of your life is unsettling, but what happens to you if your comatose mind doesn't lock you into dream world or cut off a chunk of your brain, your life? In 2019, a study found that 1 in 10 coma patients could be what's called locked in. This is when you stay aware while in the coma, but you're still unable to communicate.
oh, I had a house episode about that.
My dad, he told me about whenever my grandfather was in a coma for like 4 days or something like that, 4 or 5 days. And when his dad woke up and talked to him about it later on, his dad told him he could hear everything that people were saying around him.
Oh, that's freaky.
Yeah. So if you do have someone that you care about in a coma, don't feel stupid for talking to them, and don't confess how much you hate them or anything that you were hiding from them, because there's a chance they could hear you. You'd be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, babe, you're in a coma. This is so sad. I was fucking your best friend for like a month. No." You should wake up. She stabs you to death, and like, what was that about? All right. Jeffrey Lean fell into a coma for a month, so not 3 weeks. Hooray. Following an operation in 1990. He stated that for much of that time during that month, he knew what was going on. He says he could hear and feel during that time. When he got out of the coma, he was telling people things that they said while they were around him, and stuff that he heard playing on TV regarding like news and stuff that they had playing on the TV. He was telling them, "Hey,
And
yeah, I know, I
coincide
heard
with the
this, that, and
story.
the
Yeah.
other." Yeah. Uh, the way he described it is he said it was more troubling than scary. The reason that is like the nurses would talk to him constantly, even though he was in a coma, and they would sit there and tell him the things that they were doing, whether it's, hey, we're going to give you a shot. Oh, I'm taking your blood pressure. I hope you're doing well. All this other stuff. He remembers feeling his wife hold his hands and reassuring him that, their kids were okay. He was very fortunate to have those people talking to him, because it helped him remember that he wasn't alone, even though God knows if you're going to feel alone, you're just trapped there, not being able to move or anything. Just imagining what that situation would be like if people weren't trying to talk to him makes my skin just freaking crawl. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
because I don't like being in my head now. I couldn't imagine being trapped in it without a way to distract myself. Like if I don't like where my brain's doing, I play video games and it just goes, it shuts off.
Sounds like a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah. Now, if I was in a coma and I could sit there and hear and feel, but nobody was talking to me, and I'm sitting there just stuck in my own head, if if I ever woke up from that coma and I didn't have, I would be insane. I would just be crazy. because that whole time, if I had nobody talking to me, I would just lay there reliving all of my worst memories. At least that was what I would do half the time, because the other half of the time, my brain would be, telling me, yeah, nobody's going to talk to you because, they hate you and you're a horrible person and nobody likes you. So, you know, it's, I would wake up and just be all like, I hate everything. Be like, how long till my legs work so I can jump off the building? Yeah, not cool.
Now there was a house episode that's very similar to that, where he can hear everything, but I think his eyes were open, so he was still able to see stuff too, but he couldn't communicate. He was basically in a coma, but
Ugh.
he felt everything, he saw everything, heard everything, just couldn't say anything. Basically trapped in his head, like you were saying.
That is. I'm trying to think. There was something one time I saw where it's like a theory about, like, and this is like one of those fucked up theories. I'm thinking somebody was having a bad trip on mushrooms. They're like, what if you're still conscious whenever you die, and you're just stuck there, trapped in the body, and you can't do anything
Oh my god, that's terrible.
forever until you rot? And I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why didn't your mom hug you more? I mean,
Now that's where
fortunately, and that's not anatomically possible. So,
no, so that's where religion comes in.
all right. Well, another one similar to this was a young lady in California. She was kind of a mixture of all the experiences that we talked about, except for the memory loss. And she was only 13 years old whenever it happened. Claire Wineland was placed in a medically induced coma for 16 days following a surgery for her cystic fibrosis that resulted in sepsis. So they do a surgery for cystic fibrosis. She ends up with an infection. They need to be able to fight it, so they knock her out, put her in a coma. She insists that she was aware of things that were happening around her. She said she could hear and feel everything, but that sensory input would get interpreted or filtered in strange ways. For instance, when they inverted her body, so they turned her upside down to drain fluids. In her mind, she was in a strange hammock and her foot was stuck. So she couldn't get out. But this is her brain trying to explain, like, why am I being hung over like this? At another point, they packed ice around her to bring her temperature down because she's had a severe fever. In her head, those ice packs became her being in Alaska and looking at all of the scenery despite it being super cold because it was Alaska. Yeah. After she woke up, she had trouble adjusting and figuring out what was real and what was a hallucination.
I
Because,
bet
there for a while, her whole world was weird for
everything was a
a couple weeks.
hallucination.
Yeah. Um, she did come out of this experience inspired by the way that her community supported her family while she was in the coma. She ended up founding a charity that at 13 years old, she founded a charity 13 years old called Claire's Place Foundation that supports children with cystic fibrosis and their families. Unfortunately, in 2018, Claire died at the age of 21 following a double lung transplant.
Damn, a double lung transplant.
Yeah, at 21. Her charity still lives on, and I'm going to put a link in the description if you want to support a good cause, built by a very strong and brave girl. Feel free to go check them out. Now I feel like a whiny little bitch. I'm scared of all this, And then, I mean, and I'm still scared of it, but if a 13-year-old girl can deal with all of that and then do something that cool afterwards, then,
uh,
maybe the next time my brain decides to try to make me freak out, I'll just, think of what she did because, I can't be outdone well, no matter what, I'm going to be outdone because I'm not starting a damn charity, but yeah.
Yeah, kids can be more brave than you think sometimes.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat story on her. Um, that's gonna do it for this.
That was really
Do you have
interesting.
any? Yeah, it's some neat stuff. I was originally intrigued by this because there is a story on Reddit that a guy put in there where he talked about getting punched one time, and he said that in the like 5 minutes that he was unconscious or something like that, that he essentially lived an entire lifetime, which is interesting and it's cool, but it was written as a post on Reddit. You know, there's no like
Mhm.
psychologists that were just like
Yeah, it's not
interviewing
an
this guy
American Medical Journal.
afterwards or anything like that. Yeah, no, this is just some dude, you know, could be like some dude, some lady, whatever, writing a cool story as a Reddit post. So, yeah.
Well, I do have one question. You mentioned it a few times that some of these people could still feel. So
Yeah.
they could still feel pain, but not able to express it?
Yeah.
Or, dang.
Yeah, I mean, if you're paralyzed, then yeah, you're not going to be able to, you know, like paralysis, we're immobile, you know,
Mhm.
because like you're can't move your body. Yeah, it's just weird.
So
Brains are weird. Human
you're
bodies are
screaming,
stupid.
yeah, you're screaming internally. Yeah, didn't we
Yeah,
do an episode called "What the Fuck" on body and mind?
yeah. Well, that would definitely break mine.
Man, that's really crazy.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and call this one done. Join us next time unless Jason decides to find a braver podcast partner, like a 13-year-old girl. Uh, if he still kept me around, then I'll join all you whenever he'll tell us about some things that will make us say, "Wait, what?"
Catch y'all.
Thank you for joining us for Wait, What? If you would, tell your friends or your enemies that they can watch us on YouTube or Rumble. And if you don't want to see our face, or if they don't want to see our faces, you can listen to us on your preferred audio platform. That's Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Pandora, you name it, we're probably on there. Please like, review, and comment on whatever platform you joined us on today. We'd appreciate that a ton. Again, just thank you for listening and watching. We hope you'll join us next time. We'll make you say, "Wait, what?"